aliens, Ma! Ah!
Hello everyone and welcome to Victoria's Cantina. Today we're having a look at the Medicom MAFEX, The Dark Knight Rises, Selina Kyle Catwoman 6-inch scale figure. Alright you guys, so looking here at the packaging, we have some more of the same MAFEX style boxes that Medicom is making for these figures, and it's a very simple square shape. It says Dark Knight Trilogy in the upper left. You get an image of Anne Hathaway as Selina Kyle in the upper right. You get an image of the figure itself in the lower left. Bottom right says Medicom Toy and DC Comics Selina Kyle action figure. Side of the box simply says MAFEX The Dark Knight Trilogy and has a picture of the figure. Opposite side has another image of the figure. In this one you can see its whole body. And at the back, more poses for the Dark Knight Trilogy Selina Kyle figure. Looks like there's a variety of ways you can pose her in, including on the MAFEX Batpod. Some basic information about distributorship and such down here at the bottom. Very top simply says MAFEX Dark Knight Trilogy and has a picture of Catwoman once again. And then at the bottom, you get some more basic information, age 15, adult collectible. Alright you guys, so looking here at the figure, you can definitely see that she's an interesting looking figure. She doesn't look bad, but I do think the proportions are a little bit weird. She's very slender, very lanky, but overall looks to have a pretty nice costume. She's got her razor spiked heels, which actually she's not too hard to stand considering the fact that she has those. And then comes with a few accessories, not as many as we've seen with other MAFEX releases, but she does have a few of them. I'll give you a close up here of her face. And it doesn't look too bad. I think it kind of looks like Anne Hathaway. It's not a perfect likeness, and the paint looks pretty decent. I think the lips look a little bit strange, though. It just seems like they're a little bit more puffy than Anne's lips are. But the nose looks quite good. The face sculpt definitely looks like Anne Hathaway. It's just not a perfect likeness, but it's pretty good. I would say that this is actually better than what we saw with the Joker in its likeness to Heath Ledger. I think this looks a little bit closer to the actress. And, that's an important thing, especially with these higher end MAFEX figures. As far as the coloration goes, you can see that the paint is pretty nicely applied. The eyes look quite clean. The lips are a sort of an off red sort of color. I think the lips should have been a little bit more of a deeper red, going by what she looked like in the film. The hair is pretty good looking. It's pretty clean hairline, nicely painted. But I think I would have preferred to have seen a little more texturing in the hair. It does have some sculpt work to it, but it doesn't look all that natural. And the color, I think, is a little bit too dark. I think in the film her hair was a little bit more of a lighter brown than what they did here, but it doesn't look awful. It just isn't completely accurate. As for her face mask, that looks pretty good. Unfortunately, it doesn't come off, so we can't see what she looks like without it. And you can see that it goes all the way around her head. So for the rest of the body, it's done pretty nicely. She's got a very nicely textured costume. It's very matte black sort of look with some glossy elements such as the gloves and the belt, and then her boots, which go all the way up to her thighs. Very nice. I really like the contrast here of the matte black along with the glossy elements. I think that that's very nice. And again, very nicely textured outfit here. It was pretty textured in the film. I think this might be a little bit overdone, but I like what they were going for the most part. Like I did say earlier, her waist is just too skinny. Way too skinny. Very, very lanky looking figure. And yeah, that's just very unrealistic. She wasn't that skinny in the film. It works, I suppose, but it just doesn't really look that realistic. So I really wish they would have done better work with the proportions here on her midsection, because that's just very unusual. I can get past it because as a figure, the overall package looks pretty good, but it just kind of seems to stand out as something that looks pretty odd to me. Not to mention the arms being so skinny and the legs being so long and also rather skinny, especially in the thigh areas. So they do have some work to do, especially with their female figures in terms of proportions. Whereas with the Batman and the Joker, they had very nice male proportions. This is a little too exaggerated in my opinion. But the belt does look really good if you look at that. She's got some pockets all around, and not a whole lot of paint, just basically glossy black. And again, she's got her thigh-high boots, which look quite nice. A little bit more of a glossy look to the boots than the rest of the outfit. And then, of course, her spiked razor heels. You can see the razor indentations there inside the heel, which is quite nice. and her feet look to be sculpted pretty nicely as well. So overall, the aesthetics are quite good with the figure. It's just that her proportions are a little too exaggerated for my taste, so I would have preferred they have done something a little more realistic. Now, in the way of articulation, Selina Kyle has a ball joint up here at her neck, and that is actually on a little ball pin that connects from her neck to her head. You can also see that the neck itself moves independently from the head and the rest of the torso there. She's got ball hinging at both of her shoulders, and you get a very nice range of movement with them. You get swivels at both of the biceps. Nice movement there. You get your double bends at both of the elbows. She's got a bend in... Wow. Why do I always break things while I'm filming? I gotta admit, this happens more often than I'd like. Her hand is... the wrists are on a little ball pin that's in there, just similar to the head. And she has interchangeable hands, which not that really matters at this point because it just totally broke. Yeah, not happy about that, you guys. Not happy about that one bit. Carrying on, she has a ball joint here at her torso. It's got a good range of movement. She's got a ball joint there at the lower torso, there at the waist area, and that's got some really nice movement. You get ball hinges at both of the hips, and you can move them all around, and really fantastic range of movement there. She's got double bends at both of the knees, and they move very smoothly. And then she's got a similar articulation here to the wrists where they're kind of on a ball pin, and you can just kind of move them however you want to move them. So that's pretty cool. The belt also moves independently from the rest of the body, which I don't really see the point in that, but okay. Just really kind of upset you guys about the wrist just breaking on camera. I've said it many times. I've had multiple issues with MAFEX figures. They're just too fragile. There's just parts of them that break when they shouldn't break. And, things like the wrist breaking. I've had stuff happen before. On my previous Batman 2.0 review, I mentioned how the first one I got, how it's a neck peg snapped, so I had to get that replaced. My Joker, it had an arm that fell off too easily, so I had to get that replaced. My very first Batman 1.0 version, just fell apart at the arms too easily. So, come on, MAFEX. MAFEX got some really promising stuff coming. They got some really nice looking Batman versus Superman figures. They've got some really nice looking Star Wars figures that are out now, and more that are coming later in the fall. But, stuff like this just doesn't make me very optimistic. I mean, why didn't they give this figure a metal peg right there at the hand? If it would have been a metal joint, there's no way it would have snapped. The plastic is obviously just too fragile and too narrow. So come on, MAFEX, you guys got to get with the program. This is inexcusable, especially at a price point of $40, $50 a figure. Luckily, I got this one for around $22, $23 on Amazon, but I don't really care. Stuff like that just should not be happening at all. In the way of accessories, Selina comes with 2 sets of goggles, and you can see that they're both pretty similar. One is supposed to represent the goggles up look, and the other one the goggles down look. And unlike with the Mattel Movie Masters, the Dark Knight Rises figures, which, you could buy them either with the goggles up or with the goggles down. There were 2 variants of the figure. This one, for MAFEX, they give you both of the goggles. That way you can choose how you want to display her, which I think is pretty cool. So if we just do the regular goggles up version, you're going to see there's these little holes there on the side of her head. What you want to do is just kind of line them up with the hole and be pretty careful because I've noticed that these little edges are kind of sharp, so they can scratch the paint on her head pretty easily. So just like that. And it looks okay. They really shouldn't be sticking up that far, though. I mean, these should definitely be seated closer to her head. So that's a little bit of a bummer, is that they're just sticking up way too high. But I mean, I guess overall the aesthetic, seems to be okay. For the goggles down look, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to take the other pair of goggles, just kind of get them into those little holes on the side of her head, and then just bring her goggles down like that. And I think these actually look a little bit better. They just seat a little bit closer to her face, which, looks a little bit more like what it appeared like in the film. So I think that's pretty cool. I really like the way that these look on her. In terms of extra accessories, Selina does come with 4 interchangeable hands that you can replace with the 2 hands that she's already wearing. So it looks like we have a right hand that is in a trigger sort of position, which makes no sense because she doesn't come with any guns or, extra accessories. She's got a right hand that's kind of in an open position as well, which looks okay. And she's got a left hand that's also in that sort of trigger position. I guess this could also be for the Batpod, and it looks okay as well. And then she's got another left hand that's in the open position. It's not completely open, but looks okay. So since Selina's left hand decided to break, I can't really take out the peg because it's way in there. So I can't really show you how to interchange the hand, but we can try it with the right. At this point, who cares, right? If it breaks, it breaks. So just slide it off like that. Wow, it's incredibly difficult to get off. And I have no idea what just happened here. It looks like something didn't come off the way it should have. Yeah, this is very upsetting. I mean, that shouldn't stay in there like that. There we go. So that's out. Now let's put this little piece back on here. Like that. And then we'll take one of her hands. Let's go and do the one that's meant for the Batpod, so we can stick her on there. And first of all, let's see if we can even get it back in, because that's pretty important. Let's see if we can get it back on first. All right, so I had to grab the needle nose pliers to try and do this. So just kind of grasping the ball joint real tight and trying to get this on. Wow. This is probably the most difficult time I've ever had trying to get an interchangeable head, or hand rather, on a figure. It's just, I can't really grasp the ball joint because even when I grasp it like this with the pliers, it still slides around. It's like it still slides, so there's not really a good way to do this. I'm squeezing pretty tight here, and the hand should kind of just make its way onto the peg, and clearly it's not. I think I kind of got it, sort of. That still looks very straight. So it came off again. This is getting extremely frustrating, so I think I'm just going to call this a review. I've never had to do this before. I've never not been able to complete a review, but there are some serious issues at play here. Serious issues at play. To not, leave you guys hanging, I'll at least show you what this looks like when we set her on the Batpod, just so you can kind of get an idea of what this is like. And of course, she has no hands now, so just use your imagination. But I'm just going to place her like that on the Batpod, and I'm not going to line her up perfectly, but she has no hands, so just kind of show you what you can kind of accomplish just like that. So she does fit on the Batpod. Obviously, she's kind of flailing around right now because she can't hold on to it, but yeah, that should sort of give you an idea of what to expect with this. Of course, hopefully yours doesn't have issues with the hands like mine does. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've had it for a little while here, so I can't exactly exchange it at this point. I might be able to buy another one and, I don't know, send this one back, I guess. We'll just have to look at it. But I'm thoroughly disappointed with the way that this situation turned out. I mean, it's a okay looking figure. Like I said, the proportions are just totally out of whack. I think the head is pretty good. The way that some of these goggles sit on the head, like those ones don't look that great because they stick up so high, but if you get the other ones on there, I think they look a little bit better. Yeah, that looks fantastic, but just the proportions being so lanky, small waist, small thin legs like that. I mean, it's just too praying mantis-like, if you will. And the heels are nice. You can actually stand okay on them, but I just can't get past paying the asking price on something like this, $50, which again, I did get a deal on it. I got it for under $25. But it, just still turning out to have issues like this where parts are breaking, like wrists being that delicate. Why can't they just give it metal joints? Metal joints, and you would never have these problems with arms or hands like snapping, the peg snapping, things like that. That's just atrocious. and horribly, horribly regretful that, these sort of issues exist on something like this. So as such, you guys, I cannot recommend that you buy this. I think MAFEX should have just focused on sculpting an all-out awesome likeness for their figure and, not giving it interchangeable hands or I don't know. I don't know what the right thing to do would have been, but obviously there are some serious issues at play. And until those sort of things are corrected, I'm just going to say, if you see the MAFEX line, you might pick them up, you might just leave them on display, but don't plan on really using them because as miracle action figures, as MAFEX likes to call them, they're certainly not that. And I don't even know, on a scale of 1 to 10, I don't know, I'm pretty disappointed here. It's if I didn't have the arms breaking off like that, I'd probably say, she's at least a good 7 or so. But I can't even get through the whole review because I can't get the hands put back on her. So I don't know, I'm just going to give her like a 2, I guess. I mean, I can't really use her. So at that point, I really don't know what to say. I'm just going to give her a 2 because I'm pretty disappointed right now that this has happened with this figure. Had a lot of high hopes for this, but yeah, very, very disappointing. Very disappointing. And with that being said, my friends, I do want to thank you for stopping by and watching. Please let me know down in the comments whether or not you're planning on picking this up, what you think about this figure, what you think about these issues I've had with it while filming my review. Be sure to follow me on Facebook and Twitter. We got one more MAFEX, the Dark Knight Trilogy review coming, and then we're going to be moving on to something else. And that can't come soon enough, in my opinion. All right, my friends, until next time, take care. Bye-bye.